Welcome back to Sports Talk. Today we got our second round predictions for March Madness. The first round was amazing. We had a lot of great games. You know, I mean everything March Madness has to offer. You got the buzzer, you got the last second shots, you got the upsets, you got everything you could want. It was a great first round. The second round begins today, though. Currently, I'm recording this um at halftime of the San Diego State game. If you think I cheated on this pick, you can go back to my video a couple of days ago when I think it was Wednesday when I predicted the March Madness bracket. Uh, I predicted this matchup correctly, San Diego State and Furman, and I had San Diego State winning. So that just proves it. If you think I'm cheating, I'm not. But these are my second round predictions. I wanted to make it a little. Um, I want to just talk about how teams looked, kind of how the first round ended up going, and what they can do from there. And then, yeah, so we're just going to get into it. Starting off with Alabama and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They played on Thursday, I believe. Alabama won 96 to 75. They looked pretty good in that game. I wasn't. They didn't look um, too bad like some other one seeds. um, we'll get to that later. So yeah, Alabama moves on. I got that one right. Obviously, the ones highlighted in green in the back are the ones I got right, and the ones in red I got wrong. Maryland played West Virginia. That was a great game. They won 67-65. Um, I did have Maryland, I think. Um, in my main bracket I have Maryland. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I did end up taking. I I'm like almost 100% positive I did take Maryland in my actual, you know, my actual bracket. But yeah, in my main one I took Maryland, so I don't know why I wouldn't take Maryland here unless I messed it up a little, which I very well could have. Let's see. Okay, I did take West Virginia, but in my main bracket I have Maryland, so we're gonna say that one's right. Um, yeah. So I had Maryland. They looked good. They were down 19-4 to start the game though. They had like six turnovers in the first 10 minutes. They looked really bad, and then they just kind of came back, and West Virginia couldn't really do much. So yeah, Maryland moving on. In that matchup, Alabama Maryland. That is today. I have Alabama advancing. San Diego State took down Charleston 63 to 57. That was a pretty good game. They were kind of ahead by 5 most of the game. They looked pretty decent. I kind of expected the game to go. It was a low scoring game, and I liked the matchup for San Diego State. Virginia Furman. This was one of the best games in the first round, in my opinion. Virginia was up 10 for most of the game, um, and all of a sudden, Furman, pretty much out of nowhere, uh, I mean, Virginia was leading the entire game, and then all of a sudden, Furman, with 5 minutes to go, they get a 3-point lead over Virginia. They hold on to that 3-point lead until about 3:38 to go, or no, until about 2:53 to go. They have a 3-point lead. Uh, oh, actually, okay. They had a 3-point lead, 63 to 60, with 2 minutes and 33 seconds to go. Virginia took back the lead with about 137 to go. And then they were up 67-63 with 19 seconds left. And if you're a Virginia fan, I'm sorry that you had to watch that. That is so Furman went down, made a sorry. So Furman went down. They made a free throw. to go down 3. Or no, they made. Hold on. Okay, so um, so Virginia was up 3. Furman made 2 free throws to go down 67-65. Um, I don't know how to say his name. Key Clark, I think. He gets the ball into Key Clark. He's trapped. He's about to get fall out of bounds, so he just chucks it down half court. Hopefully like sending a prayer to that Virginia that his team comes up with the ball. It's stolen by Furman. They go down. They hit a big shot. Virginia, um, with the 2 seconds left, missed their shot, and that was the game. Furman came out on top. I predicted that game. Um, yeah, it was a great game. San Diego State Furman. Currently, San Diego State is up 39-25 at half. Furman's looked really bad. Um, I got San Diego State with the win there. Creighton took down NC State 72-63. That was a really close game for a while, but Creighton did come out on top. And then Baylor took down UCSB 74-56. It was close for a little for about the first half, and then Baylor kind of pulled away. And in a Creighton Baylor match, I have Creighton advancing. I like Creighton. I like how they play. So yeah, give me Creighton. Missouri took down Utah State. This was the first game I got wrong. It was the third game of the day, I believe. So my bracket was perfect for the first 2 games. I had Utah State beating Missouri. Missouri won 76-65. Utah State didn't really look too good. I was a little high on them, but they did not win. Missouri won. And then one of the big upsets, Princeton beat Arizona 59-55. They were kind of hanging around for most of the game. And then at the end, they took the lead, and they just never gave it back to Arizona. Um, so yeah, obviously I had Arizona. It didn't hurt me too much, though. Because in the second round, I had Utah State over Arizona anyway. So it didn't hurt me too much there, with Princeton winning. Um, Missouri Princeton matchup is today. I got Missouri winning that. And then for our Sweet 16, we have Alabama, San Diego State. Give me Alabama. And Creighton, Missouri. I'll take Creighton. And then in the Elite Eight, we got Alabama, Creighton, and I'm going to take the Crimson Tide. They looked really good in their first game, and I just think they're the better team. And ultimately, I think they're going to have what it takes to get to the Final Four. They have a pretty easy region here, especially with Arizona going down. Yeah, their the toughest team is probably either Creighton or Baylor. And they're only gonna have to play one of them. Maybe even not. I would assume one of them would make the Elite Eight, but I mean, you never know. It's March, so. But yeah, I got Alabama in the Final Four here. Moving on to the Midwest. I went perfect in this region, 8 for 8 on every single game. Yeah, I did good in this one. So starting off, we had Houston playing Northern Kentucky, and Houston won 63-52. Don't let that final score fool you, though. That game was very close throughout. That game was close for a while, actually. Thought for a second there Houston might blow it and choke under the pressure. They did not. Iowa and Auburn. Auburn took down Iowa 83-75. They had control for most of the game. Iowa did try to make a little comeback late, but I think it was just a little too late. Um, but yeah, Auburn looked good. Let's see. Miami took down Drake 63-56. Drake was up for most of that game actually. Miami finished the game on a 16-1 run, so that was good for me. And this year is the first year that or not the first year. in the past 37 tournaments, 32 times a 12 seed has beaten at least one 5 seed, but not this year, which is weird because I actually picked two 12 over 5s. I thought this year would have a lot of upsets. Um, but I guess I thought wrong because we'll get to it in a minute, but one of the regions was all chalk. Um, there actually wasn't too many um, first round upsets this year. There was two big ones, but there wasn't that many. I'm looking right now. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's it. 6. Usually there's about 9, which is weird because this year is kind of the year I thought there would be the most, but I guess not. Anyways, Indiana took down Kent State. They were in control for most of that game. Pitt and Iowa. Pitt destroyed Iowa State. Sorry, Pitt destroyed them. They looked really good. They're shooting pretty good, and they held Iowa State to 41 points. They ended up winning by 18. Xavier was in a scary game with Kennesaw State. I told you I almost picked that upset, Kennesaw State over Xavier. I did end up taking Xavier, and they did end up winning barely. They won 72-67. But Kennesaw State was winning most of that game. Um, Penn State demolished Texas A&M. They won 76-59, and Andrew Funk could not miss. He had 8 threes that game. Jalen Pickett almost had a triple-double, too. Penn State's looking like a very scary team to make a run. Texas took down Colgate 81-61. I thought Colgate would keep it a little closer than that. I thought it would actually be a really good game. But Texas kind of wiped the floor with them, so uh, yeah, Texas looked good. So Houston Auburn. This is a scary game. Houston didn't look all that impressive, and this game is in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm gonna take Houston though, but this is tough because I mean Auburn. They're really good home team, and it's basically a home game, so this could be dangerous. It could be dangerous. I'm gonna take Houston though. Houston's favored by 5. I'd probably take Auburn to cover, to be honest. I think Auburn. This could be an upset right here. Miami, Indiana. Um, I like Indiana in this matchup. Uh, I don't know. I just like Indiana here. Pitt and Xavier. Give me Pitt. This was actually how I had this bracket in the video. My first predictions, and I'm gonna stick to it. Um, since I had all the first round right. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to it though. I think this is how it's gonna play out. I think Pitt's taking down Xavier. Xavier didn't look too good against Kennesaw State, and Pitt looked really good against Iowa State. And like I said before, there's always a first 4 team, usually an 11 seed. But I mean, well, we'll talk about that on the next in a couple minutes. There's usually a first 4 team that goes far, and Pitt. I like Pitt. They're really efficient. They shoot threes really well. They're scary. So give me Pitt over Xavier. And this is probably the toughest game to pick in the second round, in my opinion. I thought about switching it. I really did. I was this close to taking Penn State over Texas. I really like Penn State, but I'm gonna trust Texas. I just trust them more. But I mean, this is honestly a 50-50 for me. But I'm gonna take Texas. This will be a great game to watch later today. But give me Texas. Houston, Indiana. I'm gonna take Houston. I think Indiana. I don't think Indiana has a good enough team to make the Elite Eight. And then I'm gonna take Texas to end Pitt's run. I think Texas matches up with them well. And then Houston versus Texas. I'm gonna take Houston to get to the Final Four. I like Houston. I've liked them all year. So give me the Cougars to go to the Final Four. Um, So we had a interesting an interesting little thing here. Fairleigh Dickinson took down number one ranked or not well number one seeded Purdue, and they were really winning that. It was kind of a back and forth 1 point lead, but for the most part they were in control of that game. Purdue did not look good. They came out flat against them, and FDU made them pay. I was saying how usually a first four team makes a run, and it's usually an 11 seed, but we could see a 16 seed this year. Um, yeah, obviously I got this one wrong. And then FAU took down Memphis. That was a shocker to me. I thought Memphis would go out there and blow them out, but FAU looked good. They made a lot of big threes late in the game, and they got the game-winning layup at the end of regulation to take down Memphis. I had Memphis in my Elite Eight, so that was the only Elite Eight team I had that lost in the first round. But yeah, FAU looked good. And then Duke took down Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts I had making the Sweet 16. But that was the hardest game to pick in my opinion in the first round. And Duke destroyed them. They didn't make it close, and I thought Oral Roberts would come out there with a fire and a spark. They did not. Duke took care of business. They took him down easily. So yeah, I had those three games at the top wrong, but the rest I had right. Tennessee took down Louisiana. Um, it wasn't really a close game until the end. Louisiana tried to make a run, make it interesting, but Tennessee did hold on. Kentucky beat Providence. They were in control for most of that game. That looked good. Kansas State beat Montana State. They were up 10 for most of that game. Michigan State beat USC. Um, and they looked in that game too. They were in control for pretty much the entire second half. And then Marquette beat Vermont. Vermont was keeping it close for a while, but Marquette did end up taking care of business. So yeah, that's the first round in the East. Fairleigh Dickinson, as much as I want to pick him against FAU, I think FAU is just a better team. Um, and yeah, I think FAU is better. I think I trust them more. They have what 31, 32, 33 wins, something like that. They're a really good team. Give me Duke over Tennessee. I like Duke. They're hot. If Duke was in any other region, if they were playing any other 12 seed except Oral Roberts, I would have taken them. I guarantee you that. Duke is hot. I'm high on Duke. I was just a little bit higher on Oral Roberts, but I'm gonna take Duke over Tennessee. And then Kentucky over Kansas State. I actually like this upset here. I think John Calipari is gonna take the Wildcats to the Sweet 16 once again. He hasn't done it in a while, so I think this year he's, he's got a pretty nice little path to the Sweet 16. I'm not too high on Kansas State, uh, but Keontae Johnson and the I forgot the other guy's name, but they're a really good duo. I thought about changing this pick to Kansas State, but I'm gonna stick with Kentucky. And then Michigan State Marquette. This could be an interesting game. I could see an upset happening here. I'm gonna trust Marquette though. Um, and I really hope they don't lose because I could actually see an upset here. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm convincing myself Michigan State's gonna win. But I had Marquette in my Final Four, so I need Marquette here. I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna trust them. Duke over FAU. Duke is hot, like I said. And then Marquette over Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky makes it to the Elite Eight. And then Marquette Duke. This could go either way. This is a 50-50 coin flip game. I'm gonna take Marquette. I had them in my Final Four originally, and I'm gonna stick to that. So yeah, that's the East. Um, Finally, we got the West region. This is, in my opinion, the most stacked region. There was no upsets in this region, so maybe that Does that prove it? This is the most sack region. I think so. I think it does. These top four teams are all really strong. Even Arkansas is a good 8. Even TCU is a really good 6 seed. Northwestern's a pretty good 7 seed too. Uh, I mean St. Mary's is probably not the best of the 5 seeds, but they're not a horrible team either. They have one of the best defenses in the country. All right, so Kansas State, or not Kansas State, Kansas took down Howard. Um, yeah, they took care of business against Howard. I had them winning, so got that one right. Um, obviously. Um, I mean, usually you take ones over 16s, but Fairleigh Dickinson just won, so does that change? I don't know. And same with the 15 seeds over twos. Usually you take 2 seeds, but does that change now? That 7 of the last 11 tournaments have had a 15 seed beat a 2, and 3 straight years in a row a 15 seed has won. I don't know. Maybe it does. I probably not, but there's a possibility. Arkansas kind of mopped the floor with Illinois. Um, yeah, they looked really good in that game. St. Mary's, I had this one wrong. Um, I had VCU. I liked VCU's defense. I know St. Mary's has a really good defense too. But St. Mary's offense was just better, and VCU's best player, I'm pretty sure, got hurt. In the middle of that game. Yeah, St. Mary's beat them by 12. VCU didn't look great. So, yeah, there you go. And then UConn beat Iona. I thought this game would be close, especially because Iona was up 2 at halftime. And UConn ended up beating them 87-63. They just could not miss in the second half. UConn looked really good. And then TCU took down Arizona State. That was a great game. That was uh, one of the last games last night, and that came down to the last second. TCU got a big shot in from uh, what was his name? Jacoby Coles. He hit a floater right over the guy, uh, right over the defender on Arizona State. TCU was, I thought it was over. They were down 8 with 6.5 minutes to go. They hit a big three, and then Arizona State just kept on hitting shots. And then, but TCU did tie with 1 minute 52 seconds left at 67, and then they took the lead, for the first time, in a while. Arizona State was in the lead most of the second half. TCU took the lead, 68-67, with, or no, 69, wait, 68-67 with 34 seconds to go. Arizona State hit a big three, um, to tie it at 70 after TCU made another shot. But then TCU hit the game winner, and Mike Miles Jr. looked really good. He had 26 points. Gonzaga, Grand Canyon stuck around in the first half, but Gonzaga did end up winning that game. I don't know why I picked Boise State. I really don't. I like Northwestern. I was looking at the advanced, or not the advanced statistics, the efficiencies, and it said Boise State should win the game. I knew I should have picked Northwestern. I was back and forth on it. I did take Boise State. I shouldn't have. That was a dumb pick. That was probably the pick I was most upset with. Um, because I thought I knew I had a feeling Northwestern would win the whole time, but I still did take Boise State, and I don't know why I trust the Mountain West in a 50-50 game. I should have taken Northwestern because they obviously have Boo Buie, um, and he had 22 points. He played really good. Northwestern was in the lead for most of that game. thought Boise State would maybe be able to get a comeback, but they just, I mean, right out the start, Northwestern was leading the entire game. It was tied, maybe, I think it was tied one time other than 0-0. It was at 40-40. Northwestern just took control early and they never gave it back. And then UCLA took care of UNC Asheville. I thought it'd be a little closer, but they won by 33. They looked really good in that game, um, even without Jalen Clark. Jalen Clark. Um, Kansas and Arkansas. This is a interesting, very very interesting second round game. Kansas is without Bill Self, their head coach, in this game, and Arkansas looked good, and I've been high on Arkansas all year. I'm gonna trust Kansas. I'm gonna take Kansas, but I wouldn't be shocked if Arkansas did win this game. This is a really hard game to pick in my opinion, but I'm gonna take Kansas. St. Mary's and UConn. This is not a hard game to pick in my opinion. Give me UConn pretty easily. I think UConn's just gonna they're just gonna outscore them. They both have good defenses, but UConn's offense is just a lot better than St. Mary's. TCU Gonzaga. This is an interesting game. I thought about TCU for a little bit, but I'm gonna stick with my pick with Gonzaga. So I just like their offense. I think should be able to take care of TCU, but I wouldn't be shocked if TCU won. Just and Gonzaga's usually a little iffy in the tournament. But I'm gonna take Gonzaga here, and then I'm gonna take UCLA over Northwestern. I don't think this one will be that close. I think Northwestern's just gonna come out flat, and I think UCLA will take care of them pretty easily. Kansas and UConn. Give me UConn. I'm high on UConn. And then Gonzaga, UCLA. Give me UCLA. And then this is what I had originally. UConn and UCLA. Give me UCLA to win that one. So, UCLA to the Final Four. Now, in the Final Four, we got Alabama versus Marquette. Took Alabama. And then Houston, UCLA. I took UCLA. Even though it's in Houston, I really like UCLA. Which sets up an Alabama UCLA national championship. And I'm going to stick with my pick. Give me the Crimson Tide. I think we're going to do... I kind of like this. So we're going to do a video like this. We're going to do a video like this after every round. So we'll have another one probably on Monday. Or maybe we'll wait a little. I don't know. We'll see. Also, if you guys... I don't know what... I want to change my channel name. I don't like it anymore. So comment any suggestions if you have them. And yeah, that's gonna be the video. We'll see you guys. Enjoy the second round of March Madness. There's gonna be some good games. So we'll go back one more time. Actually, we'll go this way. We'll go back one more time with my second round picks. We're just gonna go quick. I have Kansas over Arkansas, UConn over St. Mary's, Gonzaga over TCU, and UCLA over Northwestern. I got FAU over Fairleigh Dickinson, Duke over Tennessee, Kentucky over Kansas State, and then Marquette over Michigan State. I have Houston over Auburn, Indiana over Miami, Pitt over Xavier, and Texas over Penn State. And then I got Alabama over Maryland, San Diego State over Furman, which is looking like right now. They should have that about wrapped up. And then Creighton over Baylor and Missouri over Princeton. Yeah, so that's gonna be the video. We'll see you guys. Comment any name suggestions you have. I'm open to any, really. And yeah, we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys for the Sweet 16 predictions.